Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Velocity Channel, where this is your bridge to financial freedom. Listen, I have had some questions on the first lien HELOC, and if it's okay with you, I just want to go ahead and jump right into it because people are saying, CJ, would this work for me? Well, you know how I like to determine answers, okay? Not by giving you a story, but by showing you the numbers. Do you see how important numbers are? Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. Before we do that, though, I want you to look at a familiar face. You know who he is, Mr. First Lien HELOC himself. Okay, we got Anthony over here at First Savings Bank, hooking people up left and right with more access to capital, making sure that you are educated on if this is right for you, on if this is going to be something that is going to propel you forward. And I just love that aspect about you, Anthony, man. We so
Thank you.
appreciate you
Thank you,
on
CJ.
here. Go ahead and if you have anything to say, man, go ahead and say it.
Hey,
You
hey,
definitely have
I'm
freedom
just,
here.
I don't know how I can beat that. I mean, I didn't even give myself the name Mr. First Thing HELOC, and I'll take it, but I don't know if I can quite accept that status of intro. But no, my name's Anthony Rushing. I work for First Savings Bank. I'm the sales manager here, and I specialize in First Thing HELOCs. Specialize in helping people aggressively pay down their home using a strategy that we teach in conjunction with a first lien HELOC to pay down their homes extremely quickly and save a bunch of money. And so it's one of these things where um, it works really, really, really well if you're the right person, right? Or for the right scenario, for the right household, right? But it doesn't work for others. And so there's this, the question that we get a lot, which is, hey, who does it work for? When does it work? When does it not work? And so CJ and I were talking, we're like, it'd be really cool to show a video and present, sort of show like, hey, look, what do we do to help figure that out for one? And for two, generally speaking, what would be one scenario that might work? And so we, sort of thought about that. We're like, what would be really cool for us to sort of share that with people? So we kind of worked that up, and so I'm excited to share that with you guys today. I have to say this, whatever opinions I throw out are not that of First Savings Bank. It's a Anthony Rushing, so I don't represent the bank with opinions and stuff. So just so we all know, I know I say it in a funny way, but I'm serious about that. So just
Yes.
so we all are clear. But
Awesome.
no, I'm excited to show you guys. So
Absolutely,
so let's
man.
talk about our household, CJ. What we got?
All right. So we do have an example household here for you. Let's just say, Anthony, the mortgage balance is 330,000.
Okay.
We
So
got
if you owe 330 on your house, how much is it worth?
So right, let's say 400K valuation house. There are people that owe 500K, of
Yep.
valuation.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, yeah, that's a good
So you
question.
owe 330 on the house. So you could have just gotten it a little while ago and you owe, it's worth 400. You could have got this could be your third house and you keep putting more down and it could be worth 550, something like that, right?
That's right. Perfect.
Okay,
Yep.
got it.
So the
Okay.
average, so we got an average take home pay, right, of 10,500, so 10,500. The average total spend, now this isn't including the mortgage, is 6,000, right? Now, regularly it would be 8,000, let's say, including the mortgage. But
Right.
since we're talking about.
So if I think about that, right, total spend not including the mortgage. If I think about a $330,000 house, when we were talking about this before, I was like, oh, well, that'd probably be about a $2,000 house payment, right? So
Right.
including the mortgage, it would be an $8,000 total spend. But for our purposes here, we remove the mortgage payment. So 6,000 total spend, not including the mortgage. That makes sense.
Perfect. Yes. And then we got the annual insurance of $1,200 and then the annual taxes of $2,400. So I guess
Yep.
the question is, does this work for me or not?
Okay. Um, so I'm at 330 and 8.1% here, right? Um, so um, So now we need to put in the income, right? This is the take home pay for the house every month after tax, right? What's hitting your bank account? How much was that, CJ? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was 10,500. So
Ten
that's
thousand
take
five
home
hundred.
pay, 10,500.
Okay. And our expenses were
Oh, 6,000.
okay.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
perfect.
Yeah.
And then I think insurance was
1,200.
1,200 and then
That was 2,400.
24. Okay, got it.
Mhm.
So this is what we do. We always input this. Now, remember, all the money goes in and that pays down the balance. Then you pay your bills with it and that increases your balance. The
Mhm.
last thing that happens in the month is your interest payment gets paid, right? And that's where we determine how much money is still left in the HELOC, paying down the HELOC month over month.
Mhm.
So this is what our loan officers do with every single person that we talk with, is we run this calculator to help you figure out, is this going to be a good fit for you or not, right? So we're going to pass the summary. We're going to go to the payment schedule. I like to do this with people that I work with as well, which is I like to run the first month in line with the strategy, right? So I'll pull up my calculator and say, let's test it, right? So we're going to test this. So if you see this first month's beginning balance is 330,000, right? So I'm going to start with 330,000. Can you see the calculator here?
Sure can.
Good, great, great, great. So now remember, first part of the strategy is we deposit our income of 10,500. So I'm going to subtract that because that pays down my balance, everything I have, right? Well, now I'm at 319.5. Now you can't see that in this payment schedule. That's why I like to do this with people, is so they can see it, so they can know what's going on in the background, right? Well, the next thing that happens in the strategy is you pay your bills. You pull from the HELOC. Well, we pull $6,000 from the HELOC to pay your bills, right? So I increased by 6,000. Remember, that's two of the three things that happen. The three things that happen are all the money goes in, you pay your bills, and you pay your interest payment. We have not paid the interest payment yet, so we still need to do that. So now we can find that right here. First month's interest payment is 22.27. Well, we pull from the HELOC to do that. Well, that increases your balance. And now we're done. We're at the end of month one. And the balance should be 327,727, which it is, right?
Boom.
So
Yep.
really what this calculator does is it does a subtraction problem with all your income. It does an addition problem with your expenses. It does an addition problem with your interest. And whatever's left over is what pays down your house month over month. So this household, out of the 10,005 that they first put in there, they still have $22,272 in their HELOC. They've paid their house down by $22.72 in month one, right? That's crazy, but that's what happens here when this works, right?
Right.
So at the end of month one, my ending balance is 327,727. Well, all that happens is the month rolls over to the beginning of the next month. So your ending balance for every month is always the same as the beginning balance for the next month. Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense.
Because your balance goes down, the interest payment goes down also. Because your interest payment is dependent on the balance. So as your interest payment goes down, you're just giving less money to the bank. And more money stays in your HELOC each month as the interest payment goes down. So as the interest payment goes down, the principal reduction, the amount toward principal, increases month over month. Does that make sense to you, CJ?
No, that makes sense. That
Okay,
makes sense.
sweet. And then the last thing to notice is that there's 1 month where the ending balance is not the same as the beginning balance.
Mhm.
Well, 1 month every 12 months.
Yeah,
So every
what's
12
that?
months, the balance increases by the total of your insurance and taxes, right? Because the loan doesn't escrow. You treat this like your escrow account. You don't store your money in someone else's bank account for them to pay the stuff for you. You store it here. And while it's here, it maintains a lower balance and that helps you, right? So it's actually good, but it also means that when your taxes and insurance come due, you're responsible for making that payment. And so when you do that, we're using your HELOC, it increases your balance. So our calculator accounts for that too. So do you have any questions about this, CJ? Does that line up with your understanding of how this is supposed to work?
It actually kind of enhanced it, because I had never thought about this before. But for those that this works for, it actually, to me, seems like it cultivates responsibility, and is, one of the best savings accounts you could have simply because, not only are you good at that already, but you're using that money and it's actually doing something like
Yep.
paying down the balance, right?
Pays down the
So that's
balance
cool.
and it saves you money because you're paying interest on a lower balance too. 100%. Well, let's see if it works,
Okay.
right?
Let's see if it works.
So the first thing people usually want to see is the payoff time. So in this household, payoff time is shown right here, right? So we're looking at a 9.17 year payoff, which I am not here to determine whether that's good or bad, right? I can share my opinion all day long as to whether I think it is good. And I do know that this is about 21 years faster than 30, which is faster. And I would assume if you want to pay off your home faster, that it's good. But again, I'm not here to tell you that that's good, right? If you guys know about something that's better than this, go get that and call me and tell me about that too, right? Because I want to work with that as well, right? I don't know anything else that can do this without changing your budget, right? Um, the second thing is the cost, right? And this is something that tends to kind of trip people up because right above this is our overall cost breakdown, right? And it's a $330,000 home loan, and it's going to cost you $139,000, right? I get to do this a lot, and so I know how good that is, right? But I haven't talked, and even I can't quite pinpoint it. And I do this a lot, right? I'm like probably talked to 5 to 7 people to 8 people a day for the last 4 years about this, and I've run this. So like I've built up a lot. That connection has been built with me, but I still don't completely understand, or I still don't have the relationship of how great this actually is. But I know this is really good, right? And I get people where I'd show them scenarios like this, thinking they're going to love it, and they're like, Anthony, I don't like it. I'm not going to do it. And and I am like, I don't understand why. It's going to cost you $139,000 for a $330,000 home loan. That is amazing, right? That's great. But you know why? Because of this.
Oh, the interest rate. Yep.
They say, I don't like the rate. The rate is too high. And and then I go back to, yeah, but it's going to cost you this much money. And they say, yeah, but the rate's too high, right? And there have been times when I've been able to help people understand what they're really looking at, but there have been people that I failed with, right? And because we are taught to only use the interest rate on paper to determine whether a home loan's good or bad, right? We are not taught to analyze the cost. A, because it costs so much dang money anyway. I mean, you're buying a house for the bank and a house for yourself. No one wants to admit that. So we just glaze over that. Like, this is gonna happen, right? Well, we don't build up a capacity to understand the ratio of what's good or bad, right? Well, I know this is great, but they're looking at a really high rate. So I'm like, okay, like, how do I show people what they want, right? And so I was thinking, I was like, okay, they want an interest rate to look at, right? But the one that we're looking at isn't valid, right? So I was like, what if I could take the amortization schedule math problem, right? And put in the, the loan amount, and I could put in the total interest to figure out what the rate would be, right? If it were a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. And we did that, right? So that is this 30-year equivalent rate. So this home loan, this $330,000 home loan with 139,116 total interest cost is equivalent to a 30-year fixed rate mortgage at 2.495%. That's how good this loan is, right? Right now, I don't know of any other loan that can do this, right?
Now those were like 2021 numbers, the 2.495. You remember that?
They do.
I think that the
They
2.9%.
do. They
Wow,
do.
for the
And
mortgage.
that's when this works, these are the type of numbers that we see, right? When this is a good fit, these are the type of numbers that we see. Our rule is, hey, if someone is tracking to a 13-year or higher payoff, that they're not going to be a good fit. We tell them that, right? If it's below 13 years, then it's up to them to decide whether it's something they want to move forward with or not. But right now, I don't know of anything else that can do this without changing your budget. And so to me, I would say this particular scenario is a household that would be a great fit for a first HELOC.
Right. Absolutely. Wow. And I just can't see stacking that much money away on like a mortgage, Anthony. And even if it took like 15, 17 years to pay off, you still don't have access to that equity. I
So
mean, this is your hard work. Hard work went into paying, right, all
yeah,
of this mortgage,
yeah,
but you sent it away to somebody and you you don't have access to it.
That's
And
right.
so, yeah, that's something else and that's very good on you that you would say, hey, if it's at 13 or more, I don't think this is a good fit. But boy, I think the people that think like me will be like, well, wait a minute, I can have access to that much,
I can have
right?
access to it, and I can pay. You can have the ability to pay it down, pay it off, while still keeping the ability to leverage for other things too. I mean, you're talking in a matter of 9 years, you have access to $330,000 at 8%. No one has that immediately. Nobody has that. Hard money can't do that. SoFi can't do that. Your rich uncle could probably do that, right? But like, who has those, right? Like, I don't. So it's one of these things where you can have access to a lot of capital, and whether you choose to use it or not, right? But the reality is that this can serve as a foundation which you can then layer upon other strategies as well, whether that's real estate investment, whether that is IBC, that's infinite banking concept for you newbies to that. And I know enough about that to use those words and then defer to other people. So right, whether that is building a business, whether that's investing in your future, it gives you access to all that money that you put in there as well, which at the very least serves as a $330,000 once it's paid off in a scenario, right? Emergency fund, right? So you have a cushion of 330 right away at any moment. Well, immediately you have access to whatever available balance you have in the HELOC at any point in time, whether that's 5, 100, 200, 300, $500,000, whatever you have access to, you have access to immediately, which can be extremely valuable from an investment standpoint and from a security standpoint.
Wow.
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
that's something else.
So
Yeah,
this household, I think, CJ, what's the consensus?
you
330
know
balance,
what?
they bring in 10.5 and their expenses are 6,000. Does it work or does it not work for this
Hey,
household?
you know what? I want everybody to go ahead and type in the comments. Does it work or not? Does it work? For me, it's a big fat it works. That
I give
definitely
my check
works.
mark too.
Yes.
This scenario works really, really well. So what next, CJ? If people have lifestyles, right? If people have budgets, if they have household financial practice that's similar to this, right?
Right.
If they want to run their numbers, what should they do?
You know what? Go ahead and contact us. Yeah, go ahead and contact us. And you should actually see something right about now on the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Feel free, go ahead, contact us. We're going to go ahead and run your numbers. All right. We'll run your numbers. We'll let you know, hey, it's a good fit, or hey, what about doing this, that, and the other? We'll discuss your options. We know that there is a way out of anything. Okay. And if this works for you, please make the decision, right? Someone told me something, and Anthony, let me share this with you. Um, he said, what you want to do in life, right, is make the decision that your future self would thank you for. And I don't know if you've ever heard of that before,
Like
but I
that.
thought it was some of the wisest saying, man, and it's true. And so, of course, your decision will be made by the numbers. That's what we preach and teach and live on this channel. But yeah, definitely, if you're wondering, man, is this for me? Go ahead and allow me to help you. Okay, we'll go ahead and see if it is for you. If it is for you, we'll move forward with those next steps. All right. Anthony, is there anything else you want to say?
I just want to say thank you to anyone that's here. I hope that it's been helpful and valuable. Yeah, reach out if you have any questions. If you want to run your numbers, if you think that this could be a good fit and you want to run your numbers, reach out using that link that CJ put down. If you just want to learn more about this in general, right? Take a look at CJ's YouTube page. It's awesome. He's got a lot of videos on it. You can also check out firstingheloc.com, which is a free educational resource as well. And just to kind of look around there and to better educate yourself on this tool that can be extremely valuable. It rewards discipline. It rewards people who make the choices to make more, to spend less than they make and be disciplined with that practice. So that's who this is for, if that makes sense. So yeah, but yeah, go learn about it. And if you want to run your numbers, reach out to CJ. If you just want to learn more, check out his YouTube page or check out firstingheloc.com.
Yeah, we'll definitely get you taken care of. You click that link right there at the top right-hand corner of your screen. Just run those. We'll go ahead and run the numbers, see if it's a good fit. If it is, we'll make sure that you're taken care of. All right, man, Anthony. You blew it out of the park again, man. Thank you so much for
Thank you,
coming
CJ.
on the show, educating the people. How many bankers out there educate, man? Shout out to all the bankers that educated. Thank you so much, Anthony, for doing what you do, man. I knew you were extremely busy. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day and coming on and educating us, man. We really
Thank you,
appreciate it.
CJ.
You're going to be back on. Is that okay if we put you
I'd
put you
love
back
it. I'd
on?
love it. We'll do a couple more. We'll see. Here, how about this? Why don't we run one? Why don't we do one where we show them where it works, right?
Right.
We can give a good example, maybe one where it doesn't work, right?
Okay. Right.
I think that, and what we can talk about more and see if we want to do that as well. That'd be great.
Awesome. Awesome. I know one of my questions is going to be, should we look at income expenses? cash flow, interest rates. I know you're going to get all in on that, man, on the next show. So, folks,
Yep.
we're going to be letting you know about it. Please tune in on the next show. Don't worry about it. Listen, don't let the odds that are against you convince you that the odds are against you. You can do it. God bless you, and we'll see you on the next video.